All right, 7:01, call the meeting to order. We have approval of the minutes of 12/4/2025, whole month ago. Anybody have any edits, comments?
I do have a comment. I was present for part of that meeting, not listed as present.
I'll add you in there, Joe.
Anybody else?
Nope.
No. All right, so do I hear a motion to move as amended by Joe?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
This isn't here yet. So Farrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glovsky,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Pasmato.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, and then back to so we have a public hearing over here. Public hearing, it's a continued hearing for the amended order of conditions, 8 Shipper Farm Lane, map 81, lot 22. Installation of a bowling ball pyramid. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, January 8, 2026 at 7 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider the request for an amended order of conditions for a project located at 8 Shipper Farm Lane, map 81, lot 22, for the applicant and owner Bruce and Kimberly Hall. The project description is a modification to a current order of conditions to replace a proposed gazebo with a similar size statue.
Yes, so the applicant has requested a continuance tonight after kind of some discussion with his neighbors. He's not going to move forward with the current proposal that they put the amendment in for. So they're still they might tweak some things. So they've requested a continuance just in case they still need that amendment for the next meeting. So would like to continue until the 29th.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to continue to the meeting of the 29th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Farrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glovsky,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Pasmato.
Yes. All right. So we've got
That's
6
6
minutes. So is there anything we can take care of in 6 minutes?
I can at least talk to you.
Oh, good.
I know this meeting is kind of rough. So the COC request for 65 School Street, that is just a carryover from last meeting that is going to be taken off the agenda because we're going to come back to that in the spring. That was because they did some tree and vegetation removal, so they need to do some restoration. So that's spring pending. The request for certificate of compliance for 170 Woodland Road. Joe got us his peer review today. There are some comments that he pulled out that need to be addressed, and I received correspondence from the representative before the meeting stating that they are going to be revising and submitting those documents and requesting a continuance to the next meeting. Some of the things that Joe pulled out was like things like the fence and the pool dry well aren't on the as-built. There's a drain pipe that's not on the plan. The pool filter area is not on the approved plan, and the shed wasn't relocated. There's some construction materials, and also having the plantings that were required to be put on the as-built. So that's kind of a sky-high view of it. But that is on the SharePoint for you guys to review in the meantime, and I expect to have a response for you for the next meeting on the 29th. Same for the violation for 5 McNeil. That is left on the agenda but can be taken off until the spring. We talked about it last time of what we were looking for. So just come planting season, that'll be done, and hopefully we can get that closed out in early spring, and just kind of continue on that. So that takes care of our new and continued business.
in,
Um,
in 3 minutes.
yeah, this is rough. So let's see. Update on open and active sites. Yesterday, I attended a site visit at Fayetteville Hall, which is the 4042 Central Street. Met on site with members of Planning and Planning Board and the Historical Society, Michael Weishan, just to discuss the current status of the project, kind of what's left to be done, where things are. So talked about kind of what, the parking lot does have the recycled asphalt down. The original plan did call for um, bituminous concrete. We had also approved gravel if necessary. So just kind of reiterating that those, documents, well, I see Liz in the attendees too, should be submitted for the certificate of compliance when everything is done, making sure that the detention basin has been built according to plan. He didn't think that one of the underground detention units had been put in the parking lot. I think there was only one required on the plan. But their engineer is going to be working on creating those as-built and getting us those documents. So hopefully we can move towards that. And if there are any changes, then from what was approved, we can address those. I know planning has been asking kind of for the same things. I know their requirements kind of tend more for the occupancy permit, so I think they're working through that. I believe Michael will be in front of planning on Monday for anyone interested if they want a more robust update to any changes. Other than that, the Meadow Road subdivision is going to be getting started soon. There was a number of pre-construction requirements that was needed. So I did the erosion controls a while ago, but they needed invasive species monitoring and some wetland replication materials. So they've been working on that and getting those over to me before I sign up on the building permit and they get started with site prep. So kind of other than that, it's been pretty quiet. There was a lot of tree damage with the recent storms we've had. So a lot of that came through and just trying to, assist homeowners as needed. But on the construction side, it's been pretty quiet. I have been having trouble with, is it 45 Southville? If anyone goes down that way, you'll notice it's just this kind of giant open pit. They're replacing the septic and the homeowners, I think, stopped paying the contractor. And the homeowners never lived there and since moved from their previous residence. So having trouble tracking them down. And, the contractors haven't been paid. So they kind of put their hands up. So I've been trying to work with them to see if we can get some contact info for the owners who would ultimately be responsible for the site stabilization. But the septic's not even complete. It's a little bizarre in my opinion. So that one has been kind of ongoing.
Melissa, is there water in that hole?
I've never noticed water in the hole, ironically, but I'm sure it stands. There's definitely been erosion. If you go there, it's like stockpiled against what was the front stairs, and all of that comes into the driveway.
No, I'm concerned is could some kid fall in
Oh, yeah.
and drowned?
I don't think I haven't seen water to that extent. But yeah, I'm kind of at a loss at where to go with that one. Mainly because
in all my years on the commission, I've never run into something like this before, honestly,
yeah,
where somebody is now in eyewitness protection, we can't find them.
I
But
think
I worry
might,
about having something like that, where it's a pit and somebody could fall
Yeah.
in.
and it's right up to the sidewalk. That's I think Board of Health has been, talking about it too from the septic side, because obviously it's not going to fly. And from the safety concerns. So it's it's an interesting one. It yeah. So I just, if you do drive by, that is something that I've been working on for a while now. It's been a couple months that they've just kind of up and gone. So um yeah, not sure what the best next steps. I think I might have found a new address for them. I kind of one day spent some time just on the registry, just searching their names at different registry of deeds and might have found something. So was going to send a letter to that address that I found and see if it gets us anywhere.
So in the registry, are they listed as legal owners?
Yes.
Is there a lien on the property?
I don't remember if they got a mortgage or not. I don't think I remember one, but I can double check.
I mean, if there's a mortgage on the property, we can also probably leverage the lender,
Okay.
right? I mean, they've got to be paying. If they're not paying, they're in default. But we could probably leverage the lender to help and I'm sure, in terms of any kind of liability, they don't want it to fall on them.
Yeah. All right. I'll double check on that. Yeah,
I mean,
because
I may
even
be
in
overstepping my bounds a little bit. I'm trying to think out of the box here a little bit.
no, I mean, because even on all the building permit information like that, they don't have like a phone number or an email. It's just been all the contractor's information and the contractor. I've gotten kind of conflicting information from them. Of they're like, oh yeah, I have their information, but then they never give it to me. Um, at the end of the day, it's the property owner's responsibility, so I can't really hold the contractors liable, although they've kind of
Well,
left it as is too. But
it wouldn't hurt to let them know that, um, without providing information, they've left a hole that has liability.
yeah, that's true. I don't think I've come at it from that
You know,
side. It's more just been, hey, you can, there's
you know,
enforcement, there's
if there's a hole
violations.
and it's not fenced,
Mhm.
um, uh,
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's another. Okay, I'll try that.
all right.
Thank you.
All right, we're 13 past, so we have notice of intent 11 Brook Lane. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, January 8, 2026, at 7:10 p.m. by a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider notice of intent for a project located at 11 Brook Lane, map 39, lot 48, for the applicant and owner, Cal Binder Reel. The project description is replacement of a septic system, or of the septic system.
They have also requested a continuance. I had asked if they'd at least present, but they said they wanted to have formal response first. They don't have a DEP number, and they did get Joe's comments today, but he said he would be in attendance on the 29th.
All right. So do we hear a motion to continue this to January 29th?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Aye.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glovsky,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Pasmano.
Yes. Okay, and we're back on time. All right. 7:15 p.m. Notice of intent, William Street right away. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, January 8, 2026, at 7:15 p.m. by a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider the notice of intent for a project located within the Willow Street North right-of-way for the applicant Southborough DPW. The project description is a replacement of a culvert. Should I read the one for the south as well at the same time?
That's totally up to you. I think that's fine.
We can discuss both in concert. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, January 8, 2026, 7:15 by a virtual Zoom meeting. the commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located within the Willow Street ROW right away. The applicant sells for DPW. The project description is a replacement of a culvert.
Good evening, Bill Cundiff with the Town of Southborough DPW. I'm joined with Par Corp. I have Eric Silva and Greg LaCroix, who will be speaking to the matter.
Thank you, Phil. Again, Greg LaCroix, environmental scientist from Park Corporation, joined by Eric Silva, the project manager for each project. And I know we'll be discussing both of them, but I do want to just state that they are two separate projects and would need two separate orders of conditions.
Oh, understand, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So just to catch the commission up, last meeting we had received the initial comments from Lucas Environmental a few days before. We got our response to comments and revised plans back to the commission the day of the meeting. So we understood that the commission couldn't review them at that time, but did come on, discuss the comments and some initial concerns from the commission. Left it at that point to give the commission and Melissa time to review, and also to give Lucas Environmental time to submit a second round of comments for each project. This morning or this afternoon sometime, we did receive that second round of comments from Lucas Environmental, and they were primarily positive. They had some additional comments and things to wrap up, which we are happy to discuss with the commission. I think one thing that I want to point out initially is that they wanted us to prove that the culverts existed before 1983, which is part of the limited project, definition. So we did provide proof in the way of plans to Melissa earlier today that the commissions have been in place since prior to 1983. I think one dated back to 1931. The other one, we had plans as far back as the 50s, but definitely in place for that limited project provision. So again, happy to address any additional questions and comments from the commission, work through any comments that Lucas Environmental still had placed this afternoon in their comment letter, and happy to address anything. Let me share my screen with the project plans. Can I share my screen?
You should be able to.
Oh yeah. Sorry, not used to Zoom as much. All right. So I think you can all see my screen at this point. This is Willow Street South. Obviously, just to confirm with the commission, this is the southernmost culvert, and it is the one that's a couple hundred feet north of Willow Street's intersection with Turnpike Road, Route 9. So if you want to work through this one first, and then we can move on to north, however the commission would like to do it.
Either way.
Yeah. Just as a reminder, we have an intermittent stream flowing through the culvert south to north. We have some BVW off in the southeast quadrant. Initially, we had proposed a replication area. As a result of the initial round of comments, we revised the delineation. It was established that there's no longer any impacts to BVW, and therefore the replication area was removed from the project plan set. And there's been no substantial changes to the project since then. As I mentioned, Lucas just got back to us today, and their comments don't really require any changes to the plans. So if the commission has any comments you would like to discuss, I can bring up the comment letter and we can kind of go through them. There are quite a bit, so I don't know that it makes sense to go through them one by one, but however you folks would like to do it.
I guess I would go ahead.
No, I think one of the outstanding ones that might be important was about the section for the openness ratio for the south.
Sure. I will scroll through that one. I'm actually going to let Eric speak to our response on that one, but let me bring up the actual comment first. Their initial comment, you can see above, asked about the openness ratio and clarification on the openness ratio. The correct calculation that we provided as our response to comments was that structure has a length of 35 feet and a cross-sectional area of 28.6 square feet, yielding an openness ratio of 0.82, which meets the Massachusetts stream crossing standards. Again, I'll let Eric speak to the response to the most recent comment from Lucas Environmental.
Yep. Thanks, Greg. So as far as the openness ratio and the square footage discrepancy, the sections we show in our plans are square dimension for the span, so 9 feet, but in reality it's skewed. So we don't have the plans up, but you can see that if you look at the plans that at Willow Street South, it's not perpendicular to the roadway. So the area and the span length is actually slightly over 9 feet. So if you measure it directly from the plans, the area is not exactly what it actually is going to be when the water's flowing through there. So there is a little bit higher area. So the openness ratio does meet that the 0.82 ratio that the stream crossing standards require. As far as the discrepancy between the different sections, that was just something we missed. We updated one section and forgot to update the other. So I think the discrepancy is in the corners of the culvert. On one section, it's just a square corner, but on the other section, there's a chamfer. We looked into it, and we don't actually need the chamfer for a span this small. Typically, that chamfer is just there for additional structural capacity, but with a 9 foot, about span, we're not going to need any additional structural support in the corners. So we usually show that just to be conservative, but in this case, because it's such a tight area, we decided to take that out so we can meet that the stream crossing standards there. So I don't know if there's any other questions about that or if I explained that sufficiently.
Joe, do you have a comment? Joe from Lucas?
No, I think that helps explain where they came up with the cross-sectional area number. Makes sense. I don't know if you wanted me to get into any of my other comments or at this point or not.
For this particular one, Jay, does that answer your sheet 19 versus sheet 23 question?
The sheet 19 versus sheet 23. My understanding was from the response was that one of those had not been updated. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. So one shows just the square corners, and I think one shows the chamfers in the corners. So we had done our calculation with the one without the chamfers, so it gives you a greater area. So that's why there's difference between those two sheets. So we'll update that to make sure they're the same.
I think the other comment I would have with regard to those cross sections is that I would recommend including elevations on the cross sections for the channel, just to make it a little bit clearer of what those should be.
Okay.
I think that's one of the other comments I had provided.
Yep, we can add those in.
Yeah, so I think that addresses that comment.
And I guess for all the other ones, Joe, if you want to hit those that are most concerning,
Yeah, I just want to
not the typos.
Note that we the changes in the delineation that were made are in keeping with what we had stated and what our field notes reflect. We were planning to try and get out there tomorrow, but to verify that, if the commission feels that's necessary, we weren't able to get out with the holiday schedule and some of the weather that we had. We weren't able to get out before the hearing, unfortunately. But that was a year ago. They do seem appropriate based on our initial field observations as far as where we thought the the wetland line was approximately. I had a couple of comments on just the Conservation Commission to discuss the request for no waiver being required as a limited project. The limited project language, I think, says that the commission, may allow work within less than the specified distance. So that is something that should be confirmed. The water controls, the applicant asked for the water controls to be added as a condition. That would be something for the commission to discuss if appropriate. And we had also recommended that the engineer evaluate the hydraulic study or scope. I think the last item of any import was the commission to discuss the request for a waiver from the wildlife habitat evaluation.
Yeah, I guess as far as the control of water and any submittals that you want to see, we can, if you make those conditions, we can definitely submit those to the commission. It's pretty common. We usually do that anyway for most projects. So once the contractor submits those to us, we can send those to Melissa and just make sure that it's reviewed by the town. As far as review of the hydraulic report, we did submit all these materials to DER as part of a CRMA grant we received. So as far as I know, they have some water resources engineers or designers on their staff that reviewed it. But if the commission wanted to have another peer reviewer review it, I guess that's something that could be explored. But we are, trying to expedite this project because, especially Willow North, because of the overtopping and the failure of the roadway embankment. So I think that would kind of slow things down a little bit. But if the commission isn't comfortable with our, analysis, we're more than happy to share it with somebody to evaluate it. I don't know if that covers it. Was there anything else?
Anything else, Joe?
No, I think that covers my comments.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I'm still trying to get my head around the why the direction of the roadway impacts the openness ratio. If you could explain that a little bit.
Yep. So if you look at so the obviously the culvert's going perpendicular to the roadway in general. If it's perfectly perpendicular to that middle of the road, then your span is going to be the same no matter what way you split it. But so the way we cut the section in our plans is not exactly perpendicular to the roadway. So you can see there's like those short lines that are not quite square with the roadway. That's what we cut, which is 9 feet for span. But if you cut it along that, if you see that construction baseline through the middle of the road, that distance, because you're not, it's not the shortest distance, it's slightly larger. So it's like 9 foot, I don't know, 9 foot, say 3 inches or 4 inches or something like that. So you're not just doing like a 9 by 5 square, it's like a 9 foot 4 by 5 foot square. So it's slightly larger area because of that extra length. So that's the actual span of the culvert is like 9 foot 3 or 4. I forget exactly what the number is. It's not exactly even.
But the openness standard, I thought, was related to the stream, doesn't matter what the road's doing above it. And it looks like it is perpendicular to the stream, so I wonder why you wouldn't just use the normal span.
So that is the span. So like if you had, it's hard, it's kind of small, but so the span of the actual span of the culvert is like 9 foot 3 or 4 inches, and the square span, which is like if you just looked at the structure straight on, it's exactly 9 feet. So it's actually a little bit longer because of the stream's going through a slightly longer span than if you just cut it and, you know, square with the structure itself. So if you measured, so like Greg highlighted those red lines, so that's the square dimension, so that's 9 feet. But if you measure along that construction baseline from, you know, end to end of the culvert, that's going to be, yeah, that line there, that's like 9 foot and change. So that's
Right,
like the
the
actual,
stream
that's the
doesn't
actual
show
width
the
of it. So the
roads going
stream's
that way,
going through
right?
that.
Yeah.
What was that?
The stream channel is not perpendicular to that then, right? I thought the span is supposed to be, the openness standard was supposed to be, you know, perpendicular to the stream, not the roadway. So I think it's a 9 foot span.
I mean, as long as I've been a bridge engineer, that's how we've measured span, was along that skew length. That's the actual skew or span length.
All right.
So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
it's
definitely not
slightly
an
longer
expert,
because
and
of that.
I'll defer to Joe. But I'm still a little confused. So thank you.
It's, yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of how you're measuring that length. I mean, the stream's going through, it's going to be, you know, a little over 9 feet.
Yeah, because you're at the absolute minimum, any error is going to, you know, put you below the requirements, right?
I mean, generally, I mean, these are precast structures. They just tell, you know, we tell them how to, you know, what size to make them, and they can make it within a 1/4 inch, I think is like the usual tolerance for concrete structure.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Any other members have any questions, comments? I'm hearing none. I don't see anybody from the public. You, Melissa? No? Okay.
Nope, there are 0 attendees right now.
We don't count?
No, we are panelists. You're more
Okay.
important.
So is there going to be any updates coming in terms of plan changes? I heard maybe one.
I think,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. I think the only plan change that would necessarily be would just be adding those cross sections to the plan. So it's not a change necessarily, more of a clarification, since those cross sections already exist, just not within this page. So that, if you want to condition that for submittal to the commission, it's not new information, it's just a clarifying page.
And it was adding elevations to the sections. Yeah, so
Yeah.
That information is sort of available elsewhere in the plan. It's just adding it to the sections. So I would feel comfortable with conditioning that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can provide that very quickly to the commission. So by the time any order of conditions is issued following this meeting, should the commission vote for that, we can have that plan back to you folks in hand.
Yeah, and so for possible conditions so far, I just have prior to work, the water control plan, submittal of the 401 water quality cert, which has become a standard for us, and then the cross sections to the elevations to add to the plan. That's just for the stuff.
Okay. And Kevin, do you feel you need to condition anything here with respect to your concerns?
No, I guess I'm just not a bridge engineer. So thank you.
I can add a finding at least that states the openness ratio, of this project, just so it's clear in the conditions. If that, eases any concerns, just so, it's a reminder when we go to do the COC that, it was right there. So if it's something that is a concern, at least it's not necessarily conditioned, but it was something that we called out during the hearing.
That'd be good. Thanks.
Mr. Farrington, I might be able to shed a little light on that. If you look into the Massachusetts River and Stream Crossing Standards from 2012, and in section 3, there's the definition for the openness ratio. Apparently, it doesn't make sense to me either, I'll be frank with you. But apparently, if the culvert is skewed and not perpendicular to the road, that changes the openness ratio. So just wanted to point that out.
Does it change it in terms of its minimal standard?
The standard is still 0.85, I believe. You get, if it's perpendicular, you have a larger openness ratio, but if it's skewed, it becomes smaller. So that's what I'm reading here.
Well, yeah, so the skews, it's going to be a longer span. So it's an area equation.
It's tied to the length. It's tied to the length.
Yeah, so your span length times your height, that's your area. Then you divide it by the length of the culvert itself, I think, or the opposite. Is it length over area? It's one of those, area over length, I think. And that gives you your openness ratio. So that span length, if it's skewed, is going to be a little bit longer than if it's square. So that's the actual area of the bridge, because you're looking at it like if these were beams, if you built a beam for the square dimension for 9 feet, it would be a few inches short because you need to skew it the longer way. So you got to build the abutments out a little bit further. So it's kind of hard to tell with a culvert because there's no beams, but if you drew out with beams, it would make a little more sense, because the beams would be following the road and they need to be that long. So that's why the openness ratio is slightly larger with the skew versus the square dimension.
Yeah, so I'm not a bridge engineer either, but that made some sense to me where if it's perpendicular to the stream, that road's going to be shorter than if you skew it.
Right.
It'd be less
Right.
pavement. You'd have further
Exactly. Yeah,
travel.
exactly. Yeah. So if you imagine, like, if you put the beam, if you drew a beam that was 9 feet in this case, if we were using beams, and then you tried to like turn that to fit the roadway, it would be too
It'll
short.
fall in.
Right. So you need to make it 9
Longer,
foot,
yeah.
3 or 4 or whatever it is, to get it to fit.
So as a more practical matter, it's really about getting light into the culvert area. So when you have the shorter run, you don't need as much area to let the light in. Whereas if it's skewed, a longer run, you need more openness to get the light in.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Oh. You got meat out of the cloud. Anyways.
Impromptu openness training for tonight.
Yeah, it's good. I learned something. I like learning something every day. But we'll still make that a finding, Kevin. Good call out. All right, I think we have all we need. I think we can close the hearings. We'll close them each one at a time. So first off was Willow Street North ROW. Do
We
I
haven't
hear a
talked
motion?
about North yet at all.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't.
I know it's confusing. I'm sorry.
We didn't. Yeah. Okay, on to North.
All right. on to the north.
I mean, you
So-
guys could approve it, but I thought you'd want to talk about it. That's
Huh.
all.
I guess we could close south, but we'll talk about north first.
So here's our same plan set, or environmental impact or wetland impact plan as I was showing for Willow Street South. Very similar situation as Willow Street South. I don't think I have to run through the timeline again, but received comments before the last meeting, addressed them, and then the commission had time to review, and then Lucas has just submitted a second round of comments earlier today, which we're here to talk about. So just as a reminder for this project, this culvert is located immediately south of the Willow Street and Boston Road intersection. This culvert has partially collapsed, and this upstream area is now more like ponded, kind of marshy. The downstream area has received some cobbles and other sediment from the roadway, which we are proposing to remove as part of this plan set. But all in all, pretty similar scope of work. This one does have some permanent BVW impacts along the roadway embankment immediately adjacent to the culvert. You can see here, permanent BVW impact 21 square feet. So we are proposing a 105-foot replication area, and we have a replication plan on the next sheet, which is over the 2-to-1 requirement for that as dictated under the bylaw. I think comments are generally also very similar. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but the only additional one that we had for this this project was for the replication area. Lucas had suggested a invasive species management plan for the replication area. We're asking for some leniency on that because of the size of the replication area being only 100 square feet, and also the fact that there will be some monitoring happening per, requirements under the WPA and the bylaw, as far as we have to monitor the replication area for 2 years following installation. As part of that, invasive species will be identified and removed. So asking for leniency on the invasive species management plan. Aside from that, I think the remainder of the comments generally were pretty similar to Willow Street South, but happy to jump into any of them as needed.
Joe, anyone you want to call out and run through specifically?
Yeah, I think that's correct. Most of the comments were similar. There was not a question on the openness ratio on this one. It looked pretty straightforward. There was a question on the bank width. I think they used one measurement just because of the flooding that was occurring, and typically you have more than one measurement for bank width. Just wanted to point that out and make sure the commission was comfortable with that. With regard to the invasive species management plan, they had responded that the invasive plants and roots would be disposed of off-site. Would just like a little bit clarification on how they would be disposed. We don't want those ending up somewhere where they might be reused and spreading invasives to other sites. I think that pretty much covers it for this one.
Yeah, as far as the disposal, it's up to the contractor. It's kind of means and methods, but we do, like Greg mentioned, we'll have a wetland replication area spec that will include those, the monitoring in the future and removing any invasives, so we can include any requirements for that. If there's any conditions that want to be included, we can include that in the specification too. It's kind of out of our hands how what happens once it leaves the site, but generally, I mean, if there's invasives in it and it's going to be, they're trying to bring fill to another site, it'd be monitored, tested at that site. But other than that, it would be disposed of at the proper facility based on also if there's other contaminants or anything in the soil maybe dispose of that, properly in that respect too. But it's tough for us to define what happens after it leaves the site. And as far as bank full width, we're pretty limited. Upstream is, there's a pond. Downstream, there's a little bit of a stream, but then it goes back to another culvert under Boston Road. So we had limited area to measure. But if there's any questions on that, we'd be happy to discuss it further. If there's any, if anyone's been out there and they think it's a different measurement.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I did actually, after submitting the report, looking through the some of the information that was actually submitted with the revised information for Willow Street South, and there were some figures indicating bank width measurements, stream width measurements for both the south and the north crossings. And I thought there might have been 4 measurements made for the north crossing. I was just wondering if that's correct, or if there was only one measurement that was, as was stated in the application.
I don't have it in front of me, but I thought there were more measurements. That was one of, as part of the DER's review, they had questioned that also. So we supply that information. So if I can check with Greg, and we can also send that to the commission if we have more data that wasn't submitted with this second response.
It was submitted with the second response, but it was for the south. It was included with the south culvert and not the north culvert. That's why I had initially noticed it with the north.
Oh,
on there.
Okay, yeah. So that's probably, it must have just been in the same document. We must have just sent it with the south, but
so
those measurements for the north.
It appears from that there may have been 4 crossings or 4 locations, in which case I think the width is appropriate.
Okay.
I'm working on pulling up our response to South right now, so we can take a look at it.
It's right at the end of the material.
So this is the south site. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Joe. It looks like we have 4. We're showing 4 separate cross sections south of the culvert, and then on the north side of, I believe that's Boston Road, we have 1. Yeah.
That addresses my comment. I just hadn't noticed that initially with the as it was attached with the south culvert material.
So you're just looking for clarification?
Yeah, well, the report, the filing stated that it was 1 location. This figure shows 4 locations. So
okay.
Yes, clarification.
Okay. Okay, any comments or questions from the commission members? I can only see Ben nodding sideways. I can't see anybody else. No. Melissa, what did you have for conditions here?
For conditions for north, I had just a finding that the plants and roots taken off site shall be disposed of properly and not reused at another site. Water control plans shall be submitted to the commission and approved prior to the commencement of work or site mobilization activities. A final PE stamped wall design shall be submitted prior to work. The 401 water quality certification submitted. And then the replication area be monitored for at least 2 full growing seasons with reports submitted to the commission by the end of each calendar year. The replication area shall have a minimum of 80% success of growth with indigenous wetlands plant species. Invasive species monitoring and management shall be required during the post-construction monitoring evaluations and included in the monitoring reports. If invasive species are present during monitoring, required corrective actions shall be reported to the commission and immediately addressed. The 80% success, 2 years of monitoring reports, and appropriate invasive species management shall be required prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance.
Okay. All right. So not hearing any further comments or questions. I think we have what we need. And we can close the hearing since North was first. We'll do North first. Do you hear a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Iglesky,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Osmano.
Yes. All right. And then for Willow Street South. Do I hear a motion to close that hearing?
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Iglesky,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Osmano.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to go ahead and issue the order and conditions?
Yes.
Which one do you want to do first? I guess let's do North first.
Yeah.
Since you just read the special conditions, anything else commission members have in addition to what Melissa recited?
No.
Yeah.
No, so it's a standard ordered plus those, Melissa?
Yes. Do you want me to read them again, or are you good?
I'm good.
just verify.
If anybody else isn't, you can read through them again. But all right, do I hear a motion to issue the order conditions based on these standard order and those special conditions that Melissa recited earlier?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Iglesky,
Yes.
Yes.
Osmano.
Yes. Okay, and for Willow Street South, standard order condition plus, there was a finding and special conditions. I'll be honest, I don't remember.
Yes, finding about the openness ratio and conditions about the water control plan, the 401 water quality cert, and the cross section, the elevation and the cross sections be added to the plan.
Ah, that's right. Thank you.
Mhm.
So we hear someone to move that.
So moved.
There's a
Second.
second. Okay. All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barber-Iglesky,
Yes.
Yes.
Osmano.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks. All right, I think we're down to farm dump progress restoration.
Yeah, there's not much there. I'm gonna be sending the potential scope for a contractor to stewardship shortly for their review. There just been some back and forth about plant, kind of differences in what they wanted a contractor to do. And I think the last I heard was that stewardship wanted to procure the plants themselves. So that might save some money. But just kind of working that feasibly into a scope that someone would be able to put a proposal or bid together on. So I should have that shortly and have it off to stewardship so that we can be ready for the spring to start.
Okay. You got anything else?
I submitted our annual report and I did put a section in there that I think it's important to recognize that Mark has been on the commission for 35 years.
Holy cow.
Really? I hit that? Holy
Yeah, he
crap.
did. It's 36 this year, technically.
Wow.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry. I'm not sure what's like
Yeah, I know.
the
I can tell you what my wife says. When are you going to get off?
Yeah. So I think that's, a lot of people in town have gotten a lot of credit for being on X amount of years, and I think you've outbeat a lot of them, Mark.
I may be the longest tenured.
I don't think you get nearly enough credit than you should.
Wow.
So
I didn't know it was that long.
I want to call that to light.
Thank you.
But I did put that in our annual report. So thank you for sticking with us for now going on 36 years.
Thank you, Mark.
Getting
Wow.
my toes wet.
Yeah. I was afraid to calculate how many you've been as chair, but I did confirm that in 1990 you were in the annual report in the Concom. So that's at least
Okay.
when you started.
I know it was in the early 90s. I didn't know it was 90, but
Yeah. You're fresh right there,
yeah.
So thank you. And I know we've been saying we're gonna have, a little party for the last couple of years now, but I think it's important. I think we should try and put something together in this new year. So if you guys are open to it, I think maybe not a meeting day, just a fun day where maybe we
Well,
have to post it as a meeting, but it'll be good.
don't make it a birthday party of 35 years. So
No, okay, got it. Why? It's like you'd be a fresh young chicken. Happy 35th.
yeah.
But so if you guys are good with that, I think I would like to start trying to put something together. We don't see each other anymore, so it
Yeah.
would be nice
Yeah.
to just, I don't know, have some goods. Not talk about Concom things necessarily, but talk to each other.
We have to make sure that if it's within Southborough, we have to post it as
Yeah.
a meeting.
So, it'll be open to the public, but only we get the cake, okay?
Yeah,
So
there you
I'm
go.
gonna say that publicly now.
No cake for you.
Yeah. But so thank you, Mark. I think yes, you've been very unrecognized for a long time. I think that's very important. You've been on 35 years.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun. It's interesting. Good stuff.
People give you a lot of credit. You've been a steady, leader of this commission for a very long time. I think I calculated you've over 1,000 applications
Wow.
between NOIs, RDAs. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So think of how many things have gone through your brain.
Well, I like to think this board is a permitting board,
Yeah.
not a preventing board.
Mm.
And I'm an engineer, and we execute by specs, right? If you meet the spec, you get a permit. If you don't meet the spec and you try to find your way around it, you don't, right? So it's
Yeah.
just a set of rules and compliances.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the rules and compliances can be difficult to understand, especially to the public. I get that, but I mean, and if you don't like the rules, then they need to be changed. If you don't like them, but that's kind of how I've made it through 35 years, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you've navigated this commission through a lot of tricky projects, even in my tenure here. So I think thanks on behalf of all past members, all past staff. I'm lucky to have you as a chair.
Yeah.
Just even
Oh,
on the
we're lucky to
commission.
have you, believe me. You make it
I
way
have-
easier.
I'm
Way
happy to hear
easier.
that. But so yeah, you can continue for your next at least decade, if it's that easy, okay?
Yeah, Mark, I just want to say the tone that you've set and I've been on for like 13 years or so has been fantastic. We are a permitting board and this can be a kind of a difficult to understand, knowledge domain. And we help people find ways to comply with the regulations. And during my time on the commission, we have only turned down one project in my recollection. We've only voted no on one project. And I think that's a fantastic record, and I'm really proud of it. And I think you have set the tone to bring us to this point. I think it's fantastic.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, there's been some complex ones. I mean,
Yeah.
certainly, Trotter School was a dandy. I'll tell you that. Trying to get the crossing between Neary and Trotter, that was challenging.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Not to call you out, just randomly,
Yeah.
but I think that's important.
I'm humbled, honestly. Hey, so
Yeah,
what's going to happen with the Andrea site now that it's all torn apart?
I mean, I've only heard rumors.
I see that
I
it's
think-
for sale.
Oh, I didn't see this for sale sign up there.
There's a sign on the fence, so I don't think that
Huh.
that carport exotic car storage facility is going to go in. Is my guess.
That's my guess as well. The last I heard is what's next door?
Yeah.
Carnova was interested in purchasing it to extend their parking lot. So I don't know if that's going to come to fruition or what, but yeah, it seems I would assume that the car condos isn't going to happen, at least at this point. I've talked with the
Yeah.
contractor that demoed it, and the attorney for the current owners, just kind of outlining, especially when we had that kind of the erosion control issues and stuff. But just kind of reminding them if things change, or if this is the end of it, you need to come back to us and do something with your permit. If it's going to be completely different, you need to close out the ones and get a new one. Or if this is just what it is, just going to be vacant for a while, kind of amend your plan to be that and close it out. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted if I hear anything, but that's the last gossip I heard, at least.
Yeah. Well, I do go by Carnova a lot, and they're almost parking cars on the Route 9, so they're pretty tight in there.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And one last question. I don't want to hold everybody up, but I see there's work going on at the corner of Newton and Main Street there. There's a machine. Any idea what they're doing? It looks like they mess around with that pile of, recycled bituminous.
I don't know. I can find out though, I'm sure.
Yeah. So the machine's been there now a few weeks, maybe a month. It looks like they might have messed
I've seen
around,
it.
pushed the stuff around a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know. You're talking about Bemis's lot?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's him doing things, because I saw the piece of equipment there, but I haven't seen anyone actually working every time I go by. But Zach has been in and out, so I can always ask him. I'm sure he'll know.
Yeah, I was down to get my hair cut. I got a bunch of questions in the barbershop, and I said, I don't know.
I will find out, and I'll let
right.
you know.
All righty. I've got nothing else.
Neither do I.
All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Barbary Glovsky,
Yes.
Yes.
Osmato.
Yes. I like Liz's
Alright.
wallpaper.
Yes.
you.
You mentioned it.
Is that actually on a wall or is that a background?
No, this is my real life. This is the.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay.
This is it. This is real. I got
Okay.
wallpaper on my ceiling in the next room. I'm all for the wallpaper.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Look at that.
Very nice.
A little bright.
Gravity doesn't pull it down.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
Good night, folks.
All right. Good night, everyone.